All right, so good morning. Today we are continuing on with our European unit. So far, you know that we've learned about the countries, we've learned about the physical features, we learned about the environmental issues, we learned about the impact of location, climate, and natural resources. So now we're going to look at the different languages in Europe, and we're going to look at three language family groups in particular. So let's take a look at what the standard is for this section of the European unit, and then we're going to look at and learn what the three language families are. So our standard today is describe the diversity of languages spoken in within Europe. We know that there are a lot of countries in Europe. We've only learned about 7 of them. Can you tell me a couple of the countries that we learned about in Europe so far? Russia, Germany,
United Kingdom,
Spain, United Kingdom, Italy, Ukraine, yes. And thank you, Portugal. And all of these countries, and these are only 7 of the hundreds of countries that there are in Europe, they all speak different languages. So we're going to look at what the root of their languages were, what languages some of the language families speak. So let's get going. So we are going to look at the 3 main language families that they have in Europe. We're going to look at the Romance language, we're going to learn about the Germanic language, and we're going to learn about the Slavic language family. All of these 3 languages are basically the roots, and they're the roots of the Indo-European community that started in Western Russia, Western Asia to be specific, and they brought their languages to the different countries within Europe. So again, we're going to look at the 3 language families. We're going to look at Romance, Germanic, and Slavic. All right, let's start with the Germanic language. The Germanic language family has most of the native speakers. So most of the people within Europe will fall under the Germanic language. And the Germanic language includes what? What do you think? What?
Don't ask me how to do it. Miss OBJ.
All right, so we're looking at the Germanic language family, and the Germanic language family is a language family that is spoken predominantly through Europe. And within those families, there are 2 languages that are spoken, English and German. So 2 languages that are spoken under the Germanic language family are English and German, and about 20% of Europeans speak English or German. So it's important to know that the Germanic language, English, and German. Here's a map that illustrates where the Germanic languages are spoken. And if you look at the gray areas, you will see those are countries that predominantly speak English, like the United Kingdom, or German, like Germany. Some of the other countries that we did not learn about, they have a heavy mix of English as their primary language. The next language we're going to learn about is the Romance languages. And the Romance languages, they are the most spoken languages within Europe. So if you look at the Romance languages, it includes French, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, and Romanian. So given the countries that we learned, if I tell you that they speak French, what country are we talking about? If I say they speak Italian, what country are they talking about?
Italy,
If they speak Spanish, what country?
Spain,
Spain. What about Portuguese?
Portugal,
And Romanian? Romania. Yes, that's right, Romania. So those are the 5 languages that fall under the Romance languages, and those are the countries that speak those languages. Most speakers live in the south or west of Europe, and of course, let's talk about origins. This language, it comes from Latin, and that Latin language comes from the Roman Empire. So you will have a question on your quiz that says, the Romance languages originated with what civilization? And you would tell me which civilization? The Roman Empire, yes, the Roman Empire, that's absolutely right. And of course, Romance languages, I mean that it is a romantic language, but of course, some of the accents from some of these countries can be deemed very romantic. So for me personally, I love the Italian accent, and I love the French accent. So those are the Romance languages. So again, Which countries speak the Romance languages? Can anybody give me one? Yes. Spain. What else?
Italy.
Italy.
Portuguese.
Portuguese. Portugal. Country. Portugal. Yeah. Romania.
France.
France. Yes, absolutely. Good job, ladies and gentlemen. And if you look at the map, you will see that everything in blue, which should look familiar to you because these are all the countries we learned about, or most of the countries we learned about when we were doing our physical geography. Everything in blue speaks the Romance languages. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to look at the Slavic languages. And the Slavic languages, you will find that these countries are more in the eastern part of the central and eastern part of Europe. So we're talking about languages like Polish, Czech, Ukrainian, and Croatian. The most two important there are, and Russian. So the most three important there are Russian, Polish, and Ukrainian. Those are the three that I expect you to know when I ask you about the Slavic languages. So again, which three languages in the Slavic family that you need to know? Give me one. Russian, what else? Yes, Polish and Ukrainian, absolutely. And which countries speak these languages? Yes, Poland, Keisha, Ukraine, and Russia, yes, absolutely. So those are the three languages within the Slavic language family that you need to know. Russian, Polish, and Ukrainian. And last but not least, with the different languages come the different ways of writing. And the Slavic language comes from the Cyrillic alphabet. And the Cyrillic alphabet looks a lot different than our ordinary alphabet. So here's a look at what it looks like. So that is a Cyrillic alphabet, ladies and gentlemen. That is how people in Central and Western Europe, how they communicate when they write. It looks a little bit something like this. All right, and if we go back to our map, you will see that all of the Slavic languages are in red, and we know a lot of these countries because we've talked about them. The major one, which is the biggest country there on the European map? Yes, Russia, absolutely. And of course, there is Ukraine, and we talked about the fact that Ukraine was annexed or part of Russia back in the day. They are not now, but back in the day, they were considered part of Russia, and that's why they speak the Slavic language. All right, so quick round table to see if you guys remember anything that I said. What are the two Germanic languages? What are the two Germanic languages? Yes. English and German. What are the 5 Romance languages? Give me one. Italian. French, yes, absolutely, yes. Spanish. We got French already, yes. Romanian, yes. And Portuguese, yes, absolutely. And then last but not least, the Slavic languages. What are the Slavic languages? Russian, yes. Ukrainian and Polish. And Polish, yes, absolutely. So the question is, which of the 3 language families has the most languages? Which of the 3 language families have the most languages? You guys should shout it out. The Romance languages, yes, absolutely. And what percentage of the Europeans speak Germanic? Shout it out, shout it out. 20%, yes, absolutely. Very good, ladies and gentlemen. So these are some of the questions that are going to be on your unit test that's coming up. So make sure you go to the class board, make sure you do my review links, make sure you go to your study guide so that you understand and you can remember the different languages of Europe. Perfect, thank you. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is part 2 of the different languages of Europe. Remember we talked about yesterday the different language families. Do you guys remember how many language families we have?
Yes.
3 language families. Who can give me one? Yes. Romance, Slavic, Germanic. Yes, absolutely. And can you tell me how many languages in the Germanic family? Yes. 2. And give me one language. Yes. German? Yes. And English? Yes, absolutely. How many in the Romance family? About 5. Can you give me what those Romance languages are? Yes. Portuguese? Spanish, Italian, Romanian, French. Yes, absolutely. And then last but not least, what was the third? What was the third family? Slavic, yes, absolutely. And what are the three languages in the Slavic language family? Ukrainian, yes, Polish, and Russian, yes, absolutely. So good recall, ladies and gentlemen. The last part of languages that I want to look at is looking at the different problems and solutions that the European countries have come up with. So we know Europe is a vast continent, and we know that there are many, very, very many countries, and they each speak different languages. So the problem they have is that because their borders are so close together, people can go back and forth across their borders without any problems, which means that they take their languages with them. So I give you the example of, I grew up in Spain, I speak Spanish, but I decide that I want to go over to France in order to live and work. So I go over to France, but I speak Spanish and they speak French. We have what we call there a language barrier because I don't speak the language of that country. So language barriers are the main problem that these countries have when people move borders. So many European countries have more than one official language. This is part of life in many countries due to the ethnic backgrounds of the people that live there. Many countries share borders and people move across them very easily. And with that movement, they come across what we call language barriers. Language barriers make it difficult to live, work, and trade with people who cannot communicate with each other. So when I ask you, what is one of the major barriers or major problems that the European people face because they speak so many different languages? And you say, yes, because they speak so many different languages, they come across language barriers. So remember, language barriers, there are about 23 official European languages. So you imagine all the people from different countries trying to speak to each other, trying to communicate with each other. And if their country does not fall into one of these language families, it will be difficult for them to communicate because they do not speak the same language. So let's think about what could be the solution to that, because that is a huge problem. One of the solutions, and one of the major solutions that they've come up with, is that school children have to learn one or more other languages besides their own. So if they grew up in Spain, they speak Spanish, they have to learn at least 2 more languages so that they're able to communicate in the event that they decide to cross borders in Europe. So one of the languages that they probably will learn is the language that most people speak. It's a language of business. It's a language that's used most in the world, and of course that is English. So students will probably have their native language, which is Spanish. They will speak English and then another European language in order to make them be able to communicate across borders within Europe. So again, let's recap. What is the problem with having so many different languages in Europe? What's the problem? Who can tell me what the problem is? Juniper.
The problem is some people won't be able to communicate with other people because they speak a language that they don't know.
Absolutely, and we call that what? What do we call that? Yes. We call that a language barrier. Very good. And then what was the solution that the European countries came up with? Keisha, out loud, what was the solution that they came up with?
Letting school children learn more than 2 or 1.
Yeah, so absolutely, having kids learn 1 or 2 more languages other than their native language. Yes.
Another solution that they had was that they made 23 official languages.
Yeah, they made 23 languages their official language. What is our official language here in Georgia? English. Yeah, we only have 1. Imagine they've got 23. So those are the solutions they have to conquer this language barrier situation. So really quickly, let's do a recap, and I've got here a little quiz that you guys can do to recap and to check for knowledge. So if you guys want to go ahead and log in to the website and the class code, if you can do that for me, please. And we can go ahead and you can review some of the information that we talked about in the European languages. Yeah, can you pause it for me? All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for logging in. Let's go ahead and get started. pause it. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and get started. Thank you for logging in. So I'll give you guys another second to log in so that you can take part in this really short assessment. Who else is trying to log in? All right, do you guys have the code? Do you guys, Luciana, you remember what the code was? Yeah.
It shows
765-597.
Is it showing up on your screen?
No.
Like you
I
have to
changed
like
it.
code. It's the same one.
Yeah. Okay. All right, you guys got it? All right, so you know the drill, right? This divides you into teams, and you and your teammates have to answer the questions as quickly as possible, and of course as accurately as possible in order to win. Remember, I will take the first two prizes. I will take the people that finish the fastest, and of course I'm going to take the people and give the people prizes or some candy for those that answered, which group answered accurately. All right, so let's go ahead and divide into groups. Four, yes, 'cause- thank you. Y'all did the math, that's awesome. Thank you so much. All right, so you guys know what your groups are? Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so go ahead and get started.
Oh my god.
Hey, surfing you.
Easy.
All right, remember we have to figure out what the critters are in those boxes, and in order to do that, you gotta answer the questions quickly and accurately. All right, looks like fire breathers and snow blinders. You're almost, good job, fire breathers. All right, let's see who's next. Snow blinders, you're in second. All right, and carton crunchers. Where they come up with these names? Carton crunchers are 1, 2, and 3. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so who are my fire breathers? Come and get some candy. Can you give out the candy for me?
Bye, fire breathers.
All right. All right, congratulations, fire breathers. Let's go and take a look at, let's see who did the most accuracy. So fire breathers are at 100%, snow blinders are at 95, carton crunchers are 85, and crate crunchers are at 90. So it looks like fire breathers, you are a clean sweep. You can go ahead and get some more candy. Congratulations. And let's go ahead and review. What are the 3 language families? What letter should you have chosen? D, absolutely. Germanic, Romance, and Slavic. Which language family is included in French and Spanish? Romance, yes, thank you very much. Romance. Which language is part of, language family is English a part of? Germanic, yes. And which language is most spoken? What percent? 20%, yes, thank you very much. And what has Europe done to solve the problem of people speaking so many different languages? Teach kids 1 or 2 more languages, yes, absolutely. Excellent work, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. The next thing that you're going to do is go to the class board and use some of the review links that we have on there to practice not only the languages, but also to practice religion, the physical geography, and physical features of Europe. Thank you so much. Yeah, you can go ahead and pause it.